What are your thoughts on the Congress hearing on UFOs? Although there was a lot said, what I find interesting was what could not be said. Was there a campaign to divert public attention away from WAPs? Can't answer that. Have there been a misallocation of funds concerning this government research and covering it up? Can't answer that in detail, but yes. Who do we need to contact to get these answers? Who is in charge? Can't answer that. They touched on things being overclassified. I agree, but also when they said that they only release these low quality, shitty videos when they have much higher resolution cameras. Sketchy. Nothing really. People hear the word UFO and immediately assume batshit insane conspiracy theories about aliens and whatnot. They started to look into it more recently, as these supposed extraterrestrials look suspiciously like spy drones of enemy nations. They are an everyday occurrence in plain and maritime circles. Most people don't really give a shit about them. UFO contains U, meaning unidentified. That is that. We don't know what it is. This doesn't mean extraterrestrials, drones, debris, other aircraft, even kites and balloons picked up by wind fall into this category. If it's real. And that's a big if. How do super advanced life forms get to Earth and crash land when they have the technology to travel massive distances conveniently only end up in the hands of governments? If it is real, but it is a man-made technology, either America is super far ahead in technology than they act, or another superpower is. It's not great either way. X200B. We will see what evidence comes to light during an investigation. But I'm not convinced this is an outer world species we would be dealing with. The fact that Bruce publicly admits to fearing for his life and is aware of planned reprisals by senior leadership against these whistleblowers speaks volumes. The fact that one representative tried to get an amendment where WAP reports by pilots don't just go to the FAA but to Congress too, yet the intelligence community stepped in to make sure that amendment went nowhere also speaks volumes. They aren't just saying this on some random podcast or blog site. They are saying all of this under oath. I believe them tbh. Skeptics, why aren't we seeing any signs of alien life? There is the intelligent life by sheer probability. Members of an intelligence and military departments, we keep seeing craft and retrieving alien bodies. We were ordered to keep it a secret because it threatens the government's power. Skeptics, shut up conspiracy nuts anyways, such a mystery. It feels like I'm going crazy because scientists have been saying how we should be seeing signs of intelligent life and then refusing to investigate those signs. I think most of the gasp moments will be from people who are just super into conspiracy theories but appear to be highly credible and convincing. There will be very little to no actual evidence other than grainy and blurry footage photos. I'm a stern believer that there's life out there. I'm not convinced the evidence for it will be found here on Earth, nor will the first evidence of extraterrestrial life be advanced enough to have made a spacecraft that can travel light years to end up here. Credible high-ranking former U.S. Navy and Air Force officers testified under oath to WAP and related satellite imagery, radar data, electro-optical data and visual contact. Another intelligence official stated under oath they have retrieved crashed WAP craft with biological evidence and that defense contractors were involved. I think this needs to be investigated and pushed to get some transparency because this is starting to sound like the scandal of all scandals. Credible high-ranking former U.S. Navy and Air Force officers testified under oath to WAP and related satellite imagery, radar data, electro-optical data and visual contact. Another intelligence official stated under oath they have retrieved crashed WAP craft with biological evidence and that defense contractors were involved. I think this needs to be investigated and pushed to get some transparency because this is starting to sound like the scandal of all scandals. If anyone would like to pitch in to construct a timeline of credible UFOs or periods of increased sightings juxtaposed with major world events and legislation, here is a link to what I have so far. I think that, either this is all theater to distract from something else, or it's really true. I lean true. For help putting together a timeline with source share at Median Web 2x Context 3. I don't buy it, no evidence. The only evidence it's a testimony of higher rank officials. I'm not American, so I don't know how credible they are. There's also a bit fishy both parties are agreeing on this, which makes me think they are hiding another thing in America. Also that part bothers me the most, of all the satellites and space organization, the United States are the only ones that have evidence. I'm not into conspiracies, but this doesn't smell good. I just watched it. This dude said he can say anything because he'll be on News Nation. For someone who is a whistleblower, he's not providing much information that is soluble. But he'll release it later on a show. Also, all these relics are just spitting anti-Biden talking points. He was also talking about the holographic principle to explain their travel. Look it up. Also, people need to remember that hard evidence usually goes public during or after investigations, not before they begin. Otherwise, the accused would already be in cuffs. Calling all researchers, by the way, for help putting together a timeline with source share at median web 2x context 3. It is quite intriguing and there's a lot of on-paper credible people testifying. But the evidence isn't exactly irrefutable. Until and unless we get that solid, unquestionable evidence or a UFO lands on the White House lawn, then I think this is going to be a whole load of nothing. Sadly, so much came out in this hearing, but the one piece of info that will surely ignite Congress and other WAP researchers is the mechanism for funding these off-book programs. EARDs are about to become highly scrutinized. The interdimensional hypothesis just blows my freaking mind. I can sort of wrap my head around warp drives and humanoids coming from light years away, but possible dimensions we can't. I think it's a sign of the general dumbing down of not only our people but our leadership. How about that climate change? You guys are eating up a trail of shit like E.T. eating Reese's Pieces. I had a strange UFO experience as a teenager when my father worked for the Department of Energy and we lived not too far from a nuclear power plant, so I do believe that they exist. I'd love to see the GOP obsess over this and leave the trans and LGBTQ communities alone. Like, let's move on to something or someone else to yell about. Sigh. What are they hiding? Not the UFO stuff. But as in what bill are they trying to vote in without the American public noticing? It's just a smokescreen. There's a Congress hearing on UFOs? Wow, that's pretty sad. Planets going to shit and we're having hearings on if magic space elves exist. They've been here for a long time. They have bases in the deep ocean and they're somewhat apathetic to humans, but seem to value our planet. It would be great to see an international coalition on this. Earth is huge. Silly to think only US would have some information to share. It's so amazing what they are saying without evidence that I'm going to have to dismiss it outright unless they provide some evidence. I've heard leakers and whistleblowers have said a lot. Call me when an expert says something, or there's a single item of evidence. Not impressed until unmistakable visual and physical evidence is made public. They can flap at the gums all they want until then. UFO aliens. Give me proof, not words. I want to see Zora Klon smash that Cruz's skull on the Senate steps. Then I will believe. UFOs have been used by the CIA for decades to distract us from whatever it is they're really doing. And apparently it's working. They've been running this little dog and pony show for nearly 100 years. You'd think folks would have caught on by now. Sounds like someone is trying to distract people from something else. What is going on while everyone else talks about this? It's interesting that it's being taken seriously, but I'd want to see tangible evidence before I believe it myself. I'd be surprised if the whole thing wasn't a distraction from some kind of geopolitical or governmental issue. TBH. Typical Congress. Real world in shambles and their attention is on more stupid ass shit that changes nothing. Kinda crazy to think that there's a Congress hearing on UFOs. TBH. I doubt much will come from it, though. It's cool. But are we supposed to do with this information? We still have bills to pay them out. There will be only crumbs released, nothing officially admitted, especially the Roswell crash. Thoughtful face, man face bombing, woozy face. I wish they would just focus on climate change instead of distracting us with science fiction. Only thing we actually know is that the government wants you to believe in alien spacecraft. I'm skeptical about it being aliens. It's likely just spycraft they don't want public. What else is going on with the government today that they want us to be distracted from? They should have a hearing about the ocean being literally as hot as a hot tub instead. No evidence. No story. Same as decades before. Paper trails don't mean much. My feeling is, stop wasting our damn time and tax money and do your job, Congress. Regardless of how this turns out, I still think butt probe insurance is a scam. Deflect the population's attention from the actual lizard people in Congress. I should have started my alien podcast a few years ago to catch on this hype. It's yet another attempt at distracting from the circus that is the GQP. More UFO hearings for this House of Representatives than climate hearings. More boring no evidence crap. Bunch of old dudes having public fantasies. I wonder if other countries have aliens, or if it's just a US thing. Thoughtful face. A waste of time to keep people distracted with conspiracy theories. A waste of time to keep people distracted with conspiracy theories. Fighter pilots and ogre pilots have been seeing them for years. What big scandal are they trying to distract from this time?